All right, let's talk about that crushing pressure to perform. We've all felt it, right? Well, today we're breaking down a really powerful mental shift for anyone dealing with that. It's a framework from Brett Ledbetter's work with elite athletes, and honestly, it can completely change the game. So let's dive in.
So to really get this, we need to meet Blakely. She's a Division I athlete, and from the outside looking in, you'd think she had it all. But what was going on inside her head? This, a constant, paralyzing fear that she was going to fail. And you can totally see where that pressure came from. I mean, look at this resume. She started soccer at 13, which, by the way, is incredibly late to get serious about a sport. And yet just 6 years later, she's got a D1 scholarship, she's National Freshman of the Year, a starter for the national team. Her rise wasn't just fast, it was like a rocket ship. But all that success, it came with this heavy, crippling weight. She said it felt like people were just waiting for her to fail, just to say, "I told you so." And this right here, this is a classic trap that so many high achievers fall into, whether you're in sports or business or really any competitive field. All this pressure really comes from one core problem. We can call it the identity result trap. It's what happens when who you are gets completely tangled up with what you do. Your entire sense of self becomes tied to your performance. Just take a second and ask yourself this. When you have a great day at work, when you nail a project, do you feel like a better person? And on the flip side, when you mess up, do you feel like a failure as a person? If you're nodding along right now, you know exactly what this trap feels like. And here's the fundamental problem with that. Look at this list. The final score, a bad call from a ref, what other people think. You ultimately can't control any of that. So when your self-worth is tied to those things, you're basically letting something completely outside of your control decide how you feel about yourself. It's a recipe for anxiety. So the big question is, how do you break out of that cycle? Well, Blakely went through this really simple mental exercise that reveals a powerful truth. Let's try it ourselves. Okay, first question for you. Who was the top goal scorer in NCAA women's soccer 3 years ago? I mean, really think about it. Even if you're a huge fan of the sport. Do you have a name? Yeah, probably not, right? Most of us are drawing a complete blank, and that's the whole point. Stats, scores, specific achievements, they fade from our memories so incredibly fast. All right, now let's try a completely different kind of question. Who was your favorite teacher growing up? See? I'm willing to bet a name and a face popped into your head almost instantly. You probably didn't even have to dig for that one. But hold on, because the next question is the one that really changes everything. Why them? Why did you pick that specific person? I bet it wasn't because they gave the easiest tests or because their class had the highest average score. The real reasons, they're usually something much deeper. And check this out. When a group of 220 student athletes were asked that exact same question, these were the top answers. They cared about us. They believed in us. They made us feel valued. Notice what's missing. Not a single thing on this list is about performance or stats. It's all about character and human connection. This quote from Brett Ledbetter just nails it. He's 30 years old and he still has lunch with his 4th grade teacher. I mean, that says it all. The impact of someone who values you for who you are, not just what you achieve, that's not just memorable, it's permanent. So this whole memory exercise pulls back the curtain on a fundamental truth. We forget stats, we forget scores, we forget wins and losses, but we never forget the person. We remember character, connection, and how someone made us feel. That's the stuff that sticks. And this realization, this is where everything starts to shift. It's not just some feel-good idea. For Blakely, this was the absolute key. It was the aha moment that unlocked a whole new way of thinking about herself and her sport. After going through that exercise, Blakely was asked, so how do you want to be remembered? And this was her answer. You can just feel the change in perspective, can't you? It's a complete reframing of her entire world. What's really interesting is that when she later emailed her thoughts about this, right in the middle of a paragraph, one word was typed in all caps, just jumping off the page, person. And from that one single powerful word, a new mantra was born, person over player. This became her anchor. It was the simple phrase she could come back to ground herself whenever that pressure started to build up again. Okay, so person over player. It sounds good, it makes sense in theory, but let's be real. How does it actually hold up in a high-pressure moment? How does this actually work in practice when you fail? Let's imagine the exact scenario that Blakely used to fear the most, a critical failure, in front of everyone. The game is on the line, she steps up for a penalty kick, and she misses. The outcome is undeniable failure. The real question is, what happens next inside her head? Well, with the old mindset, where her identity was player, the immediate reaction is just crippling dejection. The thought isn't, I failed, it's, I am a failure. But with the person over player mindset, that exact same moment gets completely reframed. It's not the end of the world. It becomes an opportunity, a chance to show character, to support your teammates, to show resilience. And this really gets to the core of the whole idea. Look, it's not about not caring about winning or just ignoring results. Of course you care. It's about shifting the foundation of your self-worth from something you can't always control, your performance, to something you always can, your character. And that's the ultimate takeaway. Your stats, your wins, your job titles, all of it is temporary. It fades. Your character, though, who you are as a person, that's permanent. So we'll leave you with the same question that changed everything for Blakely. How do you want to be remembered?